Line's good.
Never on.
Whoa.
Hard. Hardly.
Come on, Brent. Line's good. Got real close.
The hair high, right?
Try and hit 2/3.
Have they saved it for her? Yes, they have.
Ooh, welcome to Game of Stones, everybody. I am Sean Graham. Scott alongside, as always. Hello, Scott.
Sean, welcome back to the show. It's been a minute. I'm trying to read your shirt. What does your shirt say?
I would say Minnesota Twins, like, be your own legacy shirt or something.
All right, you decide the legacy you leave.
Yeah. Go Twins.
Go Twins. Kirby Puckett would be proud.
Yeah.
We've been away for a while. I'm in a new setup here, so I might sound a bit different. It sounds different in my
whole new backdrop behind you.
Yeah, it sounds different in my headphones. So
Okay.
We'll see what the audio is like on the final mix. But we've sort of been away doing other things.
Yeah. Been
I thought we'd come back.
everywhere, all over, yeah.
Yeah, come back and catch up a bit on what we've missed.
Indeed, it's been an active spring for us individually. You've been all over and moved, and I've been all over and haven't moved. And we haven't really been at the same place, like in Ottawa, that much at the same time so far this spring. And actually, that will continue over this long weekend as well. So
True.
we haven't had much chance to record, so we wanted to go through some of the news from the world of curling since we last convened. Our last episode that we recorded was at the end of May, where we watched the film Jerry Curls, So You Don't Have To. And we haven't really talked about news from the world of curling in real time, Scott, since early April, because we banked a few episodes with the mixed doubles preview. We recorded that a couple weeks early. Some other stuff. Like we really had to fudge a bit with the recording schedule. So it's been a while since we've talked about news and notes.
Yeah, so lots has happened before the show tonight. Both you and I were going through trying to figure out, did we talk about this? Did we not? It's like it's been so long we can't even remember. But yeah, I wonder if some of our fans, Sean, maybe thought that our criticism of the film might have gotten us in so much trouble that we were eliminated. But no, we are here and ready to go.
Yeah, so let's start, Scott, with the last event that we talked about, which was the Mixed Doubles World Curling Championship, which took place at the end of April into May. Final was on May the 3rd. Congratulations to your champions, the reigning gold medalist from the Olympic Games back in 2022, Stefania Constantini, Amos Missaner. Who says you need to practice together and play together? You just show up for the big events. They have not played together in this for a few years. They come out, they win, they beat Jen Dodds and Bruce Mowat in the final 9-4. So they are your world champions going in to the 2026 Olympic Games, in which they will be not only the defending champions, Scott, but also the host team.
Yeah, definitely. We talked in our preview, Sean, about, they hadn't played together in mixed doubles really since winning that gold medal, maybe the year after, but it had been a while. And so would they be able to recapture that magic? They sure did. Pretty strong week for them overall, finishing atop of the A pool and continuing that right through the playoffs. Close games, a close game against Estonia in that semifinal. But the final was really sort of all them. As I look at the line scores, I remember watching it, but it was so long ago.
Steal 2 in the 4th, steal 1 in the 5th, and then get a 4 in the 7th.
Yeah, that was really, Scotland going hard in that 7th end to try and get a steal and just weren't able to do it. So got a big 4 against them, and that was the game. So yeah, really great week for Team Italy.
Yeah, so congratulations to them. The bronze medal goes to Australia, Talia Gildeen Hewitt. They beat Estonia in the semifinal. Your other playoff teams were Canada and the United States. Works out in the ranking game that the Americans beat the Canadians for 5th place. So, as that relates to the Olympic qualifying, obviously Italy is in as the host, but they would have been in comfortably even without that. The rest of the field in the order of qualification in terms of total points: Estonia, Sweden, Scotland, Norway, Canada, Switzerland, and, believe it or not, Scott, the United States of America will be represented at the 2026 Olympic Games in the mixed doubles. Still could be represented in the men's and the women's. That still needs to be decided, but they do have at least one spot clinched. They finish 1 point ahead of the Australians. If the Australians had won the semifinal game, they would be in, but alas, they have to go to the last chance qualifier. The rest of the field look outside looking in. Korea, Japan, Germany are the next 3 teams that are in or looking in through the 10th through 12th spots. So it'll be a firm and tough competition for the last 2 bursts in the mixed doubles.
Yeah, I think if Canada had beaten the United States in that qualifying game, then US and Australia
that would have been enough for Australia as well. Yep.
Yeah, they would have been tied, but since Australia had the higher finish, they would have gotten in on that basis. So yeah, lots of excitement, lots of drama. Sean, you mentioned Team Canada. Brett Gallant curled all spring, I think. Like, didn't he was just a curling machine there. Between the men's worlds, the mixed doubles worlds, the Canadian mixed doubles championship, separate from the Olympic one, of course. So finishing at a point where they could say they qualified Canada for the Olympics, that was the goal, and they came out of that on the right side.
Yeah, and a little known fact, Brett Gallant has actually been sleeping since May the 3rd. He
hibernating like a bear, right?
Sleep since then. So that's the state of the field for the Olympic Games. Canada, or the Canadian representatives, and Jocelyn Peterman, Brett Gallant, they were the first Olympians officially named to Team Canada by the Canadian Olympic Committee. The same is true of Corey Dropkin, Corey Teese. Actually, I don't know if they were the first Americans, but they have been officially named as well. Some of the other countries have been naming their teams. I believe Sweden has named Hasselberg and Nicodine officially. So you're starting to see those announcements coming out from the various associations, and we will keep track of that. But no real surprises as yet in any of those announcements.
No real surprises. I just saw Switzerland chose Schwaller and Tiranzoni as their Olympic reps.
Yeah, so don't really need to stop the presses on that.
No.
Now, Scott, one thing that we should note is the equipment that they will be using at these Olympic Games. As last Friday, the 20th of June, the World Curling Federation did release a update on the sweeping equipment that will be permitted at the Olympic Games and through the rest of the 2025-2026 season. So this is a product of what happened in the later part of the season at that last Grand Slam. The problem was the foams. It's not the fabric anymore. Now it's the foams, and the foams are too firm, is the claim that a lot of the players are making. So as it sits right now, there are 6 brushes that have been approved for play in world curling competitions. The Balance Plus with original RS foam, the Balance Plus RS with 3.0 foam, Smart Broom by Curling Tools with less firm foam. Now that is subject to lab approval. The Gold Line Impact with Pulsar foam, the hardline ice pad with recreational foam, and the end game icon. And that means that there are Balance Plus, Gold Line, Hardline, and Smart Broom foams that have been prohibited from use. And this decision, according to World Curling, took place following extensive consultation with stakeholders, including players, manufacturers, ice experts, and they had a sweep testing exercise at the Morris Curling Club in Manitoba. So that's the situation, Scott. I got to be completely honest on this one. Back in 2015, that story was mildly interesting to me. This is not. Foam density. I really just I can't summon the energy to be passionate one way or the other. I really don't care.
Yeah, I get it. And understanding the difference between the less dense foam and then all of the names that all the companies have for it. Like I'm reading some of the banned ones is Gold Line impact heads with evader or pursuer foam. Ooh, this is the evader foam. Like, why? Who named this?
What am I evading?
Apparently nothing, because you can't use it anymore. So
no, I can use it. Nothing is stopping me from using it.
Yeah, Sean, we should really be using these foams to help us win games.
Well, I don't. Last year I bought one of the Norwegian broom heads that have whatever I don't know even what they're called, the ridges
on it
on them. Yeah, I used one of those unapologetically.
Yeah, because we're recreational, but now we should be using competitive foam from Hardline instead of the recreational foam, which is approved.
I guess.
So
I don't know. Like the videos from the fabric 10 years ago where you were backing it up, that was persuasive. I haven't seen anything, not that I've looked for anything, that has persuaded me that this is as fundamentally challenging to the game as that was.
Yeah, fair. I honestly, I don't know either. Yeah.
And I listened to this is somewhat fresh in my mind too, because I listened to the girls' return episode this week. My apologies that it took me this long to listen to it, but again, I've been everywhere, all over through the course of the spring. So I listened to it, exciting that they're back. But one of the things they talked about was in the context of the brooms, while everybody makes everything people are losing games shooting 90%. Again, I think that's a little bit of, the players are certainly better than they used to be, but I do still think there is some statistical inflation going on.
Yeah, definitely a little inflation, as we saw in our episode about that. But yeah, it's not like you're at school and everybody has to get a passing grade, right? Yeah. So your bell curve is really very highly tilted to the right.
Yeah.
We don't
on
need
that note too, Scott. I had to review something this week, and I saw the median grade for a high school class. Shocking.
Oh yeah,
shockingly
high.
The first digit was 9.
Yikes.
The median.
Yeah.
So it's not just in curling where inflation is happening, apparently.
No, it's not. It's happening all over the place, and we got to get away from right justifying everything,
Yeah.
Let's get back to center justifying.
Yeah. And radishes are too expensive too. That's another inflationary thing.
You like radishes?
I had radishes for dinner. First time I ever cooked radishes.
Not
the only thing I had, but yeah. Well, sauteed them.
Huh.
Yeah, it was a delight. So this is something to keep an eye on, though, in terms of the sweeping. We did get an email over the course of the season if we could do an episode on sweeping, and I'm far more interested in sweeping techniques the rules around sweeping. Do we actually need to have rules to prevent people from dumping, for instance, because teams are
Yeah.
openly dumping in front of rocks?
They
So
are.
dumping is where you stop the brushstroke right in front of the stone and lift up directly in the hopes that you will leave something there to slow it down. People are clearly doing that, as we saw at the Men's World Championship. People are also just openly hitting the stone as well. So I don't know if you can create a foam that won't affect it when you just hit it.
Or
But
just pull it. Yeah.
yeah, so we did get an email to do something on that, and that's what this kind of stuff I'm a little more interested in than necessarily the foam. And I think that is, well, I know it's on my list for the summer. So
Yeah. I think digging in a little more on that kind of stuff makes sense in the summer. And maybe if we can find somebody to talk to who really knows the foams and can explain it such that you and I can understand it, then maybe we can talk to them.
all right, Scott. So that is the equipment for the 2025-2026 season. Another thing that came out this week, Curling Canada has announced the draw times for the 2025 Canadian Olympic Curling Trials. Unsurprisingly, they are going to be at 9, 2, and 7 local time out in Halifax, Nova Scotia. They also have the matchups there. The thing, though, Scott, that I noticed is the timing of when they're going to do the championship series. So, of course, it was announced that the playoffs will be 3 teams make the playoffs, semifinal, and then a best of 3 in the final. So that does leave the possibility that the Sunday of the event will have nothing. That is possible.
Really? Okay.
But the semifinals are going to be Thursday, and then the finals will start on Friday. The women's final is going to be the afternoon games, and the men's final are going to be the night games. That means, Scott, that the first game in the series to decide who Canada's Olympic representative will be at the Olympic Games for the women will take place at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 11 a.m. Mountain Time.
Go on.
Noon Central on a Friday afternoon. This is not as bad as Saskatchewan putting their women's final Tuesday morning at 9:30 or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't good, though. Like, I'm not a big fan of this idea of we'll just do 2 full broadcasts, but this might be an exception for me. You got 5 channels. Mudryk is going to be there. Kathy's there, and she has nothing else to do on a single sheet thing. So you could, in this case, on the Friday night, have the women start at, say, 6 local, 6:30 local. The men start at 8 or 8:30 local, run 2 broadcasts and that are overlapping for an hour. You could do that. It's more value out of the ticket for the buyers. You don't get 2 gates out of it.
Yeah.
But you're not doing what baseball does to the Rays and the Blue Jays and every other small market team and say, we don't care about you. We're putting your playoff game in the middle of a work day. I really don't like the look of this.
Yeah. It's not great. I wonder too, like, do we need to have a day between these games? Can you not play 2 in a day? Can you not have semifinal 1 at noon and semifinal 2 at 7? Like,
well, you could. I mean, I think that's what they're doing on the semifinals.
Oh, the semifinals, but I mean, like
the
couldn't you have
series in
game 1 and game 2 on the same day?
Yeah, you could.
Right?
Yeah.
But I guess they want single gates and single sheets, right? For the final games.
Which, okay. It's just, again, you're just indicating to me that you don't really care as much about the women by putting them in the middle of the day.
I guess so, but I think they're not counting on any like walk up crowds, right? Like if you're buying tickets for the final series, you're going to be there, and then putting it on TV, like people are going to watch or not, and it doesn't really matter, right? It's like,
well, you're gonna get a lower number.
You're going to get a lower number, but if they're prepared for that, then I think it's fine. They won't be going up against anything. They won't be going up against hockey, going up against basketball at 1 p.m. Eastern time on a Friday,
No, that's true. I should note too. So the semifinals on Thursday, same thing. Women in the afternoon, and the men in the evening.
Yeah, and I thought when you were saying it, Sean, I was thinking like, oh, could they have done game 1 is men in the evening, game 2 is women in the evening, like, and flipped it, but then you get a shorter turnaround, right? Between game 1 and 2 for the whoever's there, and same for, but I mean, it would be even for this both teams. Both teams would have the same amount of rest. And it's not like they're not used to playing
night to afternoon, right? You still do it in the afternoon.
Yeah, exactly.
And I should say it was, if I said 2 p.m. local, I was wrong. It's 1 p.m. local for the playoff games, 2 p.m. local for the normal draws. So everything will wrap up by Wednesday night, and then the playoffs Thursday through potentially Sunday.
And when does it start? The Friday?
It starts on Saturday, the 22nd of November.
And there's 9 teams, right? So they're going to play 8 games in 5 days?
There's 8 teams.
There's only 8 teams. Okay. So they're playing 7 games. Each team is playing 7 games in 5 days.
Yep.
But then needs 3 days to play 3 games for the finals.
Yeah. And if you're coming out of the semifinal, 4 games in 4 days.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Back in my day, Sean, curling was a real tough sport where you had to play 12 ends, and I feel like I'm just going to sound like an old guy if we complain too much. But
yeah,
you could probably
I should say during the event they're alternating, right? So the women are starting the event Saturday afternoon. Saturday night is the men, and then the women will play twice on Sunday, split day. Men will play twice Monday, and then so on and so forth through Tuesday and Wednesday.
Okay.
So that's the draw schedule.
There you have it. No buys with 8 teams. So that's good.
Yeah. All right. So that was announced. Some other news here, Scott, keep on the Olympic train here. Or at least Curling Canada, as it relates to the Olympic Paralympic Games, should note that Curling Canada has announced its pool of candidates for the Paralympic Games. There are 14 players who have been named to the national program for 2025-2026. That includes the team that qualified for the Olympic Games of John Thurston, Gilbert Dash, Doug Dean, and Kalinda Joseph. So they are all there. Also, Chrissy Molnar was part of that team. Mark Idison and Ina Forrest, they are part of this group as well. They both have plenty of Paralympic experience. You also have Jillian Hopkins, Dennis Thiessen, Marie Wright are part of this group as well. A lot of experience between these players, Scott. It's going to be a difficult decision, I think, for Curling Canada to decide on who the team is going to be. Because as we talked about when we talked about the Paralympic qualification, Mark Idison, Ina Forrest, tons of experience, of well-credentialed athletes, have had tons of success on the international stage, had a good week at the mixed double wheelchair event, just had a bad game in the quarterfinal. And so Canada doesn't qualify. So now what do you do? I don't know if they'll have an open competition among the 14 players. Obviously, there's going to be something going on. I'm sure they'll have training camps. But this is something to keep an eye on because you got really, 4 essentially spots, but I think 5 total. And you got 10, 11 people who have, I think, a pretty good claim to be there. Yeah,
for sure. I don't envy being someone from Curling Canada making this decision, So they put out the pool. I don't think we're surprised by any of those names. And yeah, they're just going to have to see how the team works together, maybe have a camp, right? And see how things fit, and then just go with their gut on it, because they're not going to have a lot of events to play in, so you can like go to the hot hand kind of thing. It's just going to have to be based on track record and form currently. So yeah, it's tough call.
Yeah, absolutely. So the other announcement, the next gen team for the wheelchair program, Carl Allen, Leanne Kyer, Terry Fowler, and Reed Mulligan are the next gen curlers here in the wheelchair program. So not in the running for this Paralympic Games, but certainly keep an eye out for 2030 with them.
Yes.
All right, Scott, another piece of news that has come out since we last chatted. That is the announcement of a professional curling league. The curling group, which runs the Grand Slam of Curling, has announced that they are going to introduce a professional curling league next season. It said that the Rock League will debut in April 2026. 6 global franchise teams competing in a multi-format 6-week season. They did announce the team captains, which will include Rachel Homan, Brad Jacobs, Bruce Mowat, Alina Patz, Corey Dropkin, and Shinami Yoshida are your team captains, and additional athletes will be named later this season. Scott, interesting idea for sure. What is your initial takeaway from this idea?
Before I give you my takeaway, Sean, I'm going to read you a text that I got from a friend of mine.
Okay.
Who the F is the curling group talking about starting a pro curling league? I thought that's what the Grand Slams were. Nobody wants to watch curling in the summer.
Okay. So that's a tepid disapprove.
Tepid disapprove. Yeah, my thought is who is this for?
Right.
And if there's people that watch it, sure. Okay. But like, it reminds me of World Team Tennis a bit.
Right.
Like, who cares about World Team Tennis?
Well, I'm sure somebody.
I mean, there's something for everyone, so I'm sure there's somebody that wants it. But I don't know, like, who? Yeah, I just wonder who it's for and why. Like, and it's not regular teams. It's like going to be like, why do I don't care about Rachel Homan playing with somebody who's not her usual team. You know what I mean? Like,
right. So the teams will be organized by region, 2 each from Canada and Europe, and 1 each from Asia Pacific and the United States.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but like, okay, so the captains, right? But like, what are they going to draft their teams? And like, all right,
I don't know.
cool. Like,
yeah. I also don't know what the format necessarily is going to be. Are these going to be like 1 week is like normal games that we see? Are we going to have skins games? Are we going to have like maybe a mixed doubles style? Like that hasn't been announced yet. Brad Gushu was quoted in the story saying that he wasn't ready to commit to it, talking about, you want the sport to be the sport. So I'm curious to see what this is. I do think, Scott, this season, what the curling group did to the Grand Slams, they invested clearly and heavily in the off the ice stuff, in having the patch or whatever they call it be a thing. The karaoke was a huge hit, seemingly in person, and with social media, it got tons of traction on that. Mm-hmm. The on ice product, though, was the exact same.
Was the same, yeah.
And okay, so the focus has seemingly been around the events as opposed to what's going on during the events, or even increasing the profile of the curling itself. So I'm curious about what this will be in the same avenue. Is it going to be about generating views and stuff on socials and creating the buzz that was clearly created this year around the slams, or is it going to be about something with the game? Because the slams, for as much as I think we have been critical of them over the years, what they have done for the sport and trying out new rules and being a testing ground for a lot, it has been very good for the sport. And this year they tried a little bit with like the blank rule, for instance. So, it still is that, but the focus seemingly of what the curling group is doing is eventizing these a lot more.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, I mean, this Grand Slams have been good for money too. Like they've injected a lot of money into the world of curling, and for the teams and the players, meant that they don't have to hustle and be on the road as often as they maybe used to have to be before the Sportsnet investment in the Grand Slams. But yeah, like I just don't like. Maybe we should try and get Jennifer Jones to come on and talk to us about this. She is a strategic advisor for this, and like maybe she could explain it to us as like why, who, huh?
Well, the other thing is the timing, right? Like they're launching
now. Yeah,
they're launching late April. Like that's when the events are going to be. Like I don't like. Yeah, who's the audience for late April curling? Now, I realize I say that on June 26th or whatever the date is today, talking about curling on a podcast.
We're the audience and we don't get it.
Yeah, like we're the target audience for this sort of thing. And yeah, at that time of year, especially next year, we will have gone through the trials all over the world where there are trials, right? The American trials will be an event to watch, among others. Then the Canadian trials, of course. Then we'll go through the Olympics, Paralympics.
Well, last chance qualifier.
Oh, yes. Last chance qualifier, Paralympics, Olympics. And that is in addition to PointsBet, the Slams, Scotties, Briar, World Championships. Like there's so much that at the end of April, like, I don't know. And by the way, all these teams, 90% of these teams will have been broken up, and a lot of these people will be free agents. And like, I don't know, there's something about that too. And we're coming off of a quad and what's going on.
Well, maybe that's what it's for, Sean. Maybe it's so that teams can like test out playing with each other.
Maybe
before committing to bringing somebody on their team.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
So I'm not sure this is something that is necessary, but I will maintain an open mind, as I have said for years about the Elite 10. God rest its soul. I thought it was a terrible format, but I like that they tried something different, and then they had the good sense to put it out of its misery.
Yeah.
So that's the same thing. Like try stuff, right? And if they have the capital to do this, and the players are on board, let's see what it's like.
And bless them, right? Bless them.
Yep. All right, so that's going to kick off next year. A couple other quick notes for next year. On the men's side, Derek Semigalski is going to skip a team out of Nunavut next year, along with Sheldon Wedig, Brady St. Louis, and Christian Smitheram will be the Nunavut team next year. Highly likely that they will be the Nunavut rep, but of course they're going to have to play off to get there. Also, Reed Carruthers has announced that he is not going to play in the pre-trials. He's going to focus on his coaching responsibilities with Carrie Anerson. I thought a very interesting quote, Scott, where he goes, talking about what the scenario is going to be for next season between coaching and playing, what it's going to look like. And he says, we're still trying to figure out what that would look like in certain scenarios, but likely it would involve expanding our roster to at least have one more person involved and almost having like a team of 5. Well, if you're expanding your roster to have one more person, I'm not a mathematician, but I believe that would make it a 5-person team. That just struck me as a very funny way to say that.
That is a funny way, but he was
Stream
thinking
of
of it off the
consciousness,
top
I'm
of his
sure.
head.
Yeah. Whoever wrote this did not do him any favors in picking that quote. It's just a CP article, so there's no attributed author.
Okay. Well, 5-man team. That's probably the way to go.
Yes. And the team that he is going to be coaching, of course, is Carrie Anderson. And again, I can't remember if we talked about this, but we did get the news that Brienne Mayer has had her suspension overturned on appeal. She was determined that accidental ingestion of the banned substance through intimate partner contact, I believe was the official release there. So she is no longer suspended, but she is no longer on the team either. She is going to play with Kate Cameron, and she will not be on Carrie Anderson's team next year.
Yeah. I a little bit surprised, but also a little bit not,
Yeah, when they said that
tough
she
for the
wasn't going to
team.
be on the bench at the Scotties,
That was kind of the writing on the wall, right?
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So that team that had so much success is no more, but a great run for Anderson team.
One of the best runs in the history of the sport, for sure.
Yeah. 100%. So we'll see what happens. Still not sure. In the story about Reed Carruthers, I noted that still not entirely sure about Shannon Burchard's knee. So she's rehabbing, trying to get it back. They have a training camp in August coming up. So that should be a chance for her to get on the ice, give it a go, see what's going on. So they're not still entirely sure what the lineup's going to be. And hopefully Shannon, with some more rehab and physio and all this stuff, gets her back into 100% and can get back in there. But something to keep an eye on as we go into the season is Shannon Burchard's knee.
Yeah. It's always sucks to have an injury, and she's been dealing with it for a while. So hope she can get back on the ice soon.
Absolutely. So Scott, I think that was all the news, other than one quick one here. The curling group all-star game is going to premiere Tuesday, Canada Day, on Sportsnet. This was the event they had in Nashville. Seen some stuff on social media, not much because I really don't look at social media anymore. So they did that. It happened. And now it's going to be on TV in an edited form on Tuesday. I don't know where Sportsnet's going to find the time between reporting breathlessly on the new fourth line left winger for the Columbus Blue Jackets, but they'll find a slot somewhere.
I guess so. This is going to be on at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock.
Yeah. So the free agent madness will be over.
Yes. The madness will be over. Does the NBA
or frenzy? Do they call it a frenzy?
Free agent frenzy. That sounds right. Does the NBA free agency start then too?
Well, they have like a weird, you can start talking, but you can't sign deals for like a week.
Yeah, like tampering period.
Yeah,
legal tampering.
Like
yeah.
But there's no good free agents in the NBA.
No,
they all sign extensions and then say, "I don't want to play here anymore. Please trade me to where I want to go."
Sean, I've been listening to a little bit about the NBA lately, and I follow it, but I've been a little bit detached the last couple of years. These guys make so much money.
Yeah,
it's
like $60 million a year. It's
obscene.
Yeah,
and it seemed like they weren't making that much money like not that long ago.
Yeah, I read John Hollinger's article about best free agents and the value. And the guys who he has slotted in there is like $20 million guys. He's like, yeah, maybe a sixth man, not a starter, maybe not a guy who can play big minutes for you in the fourth quarter of a playoff game. Like, well, why is he getting $20 million?
Yeah. He's got a manageable contract at $23 million a year for the next 4 years. And you're like, it just blew my mind. Anyway, it was a fun NBA Finals. Tough ending.
until
But
until like 4 minutes left in the first quarter of game.
yeah, I was like so super excited to watch it, and I got down like about the end of the first quarter,
Yeah.
and was like, oh,
Yeah. Bummer. I mean,
that
good on the
sucks.
Pacers for, they had a lead at
Oh,
halftime and
yeah,
good
I
on
watched
'em.
I watched the whole thing still, but yeah. Anyway, basketball.
Yeah. But
Uh,
again, like it's what we talked about in the fall about curling and roster changes and that. So much of the NBA is not really about the game. It's about
yeah,
the who's going to go where and all, like it's, yeah. And even if you watch, I was listening to Deitch today talking about the coverage, the ESPN coverage. They don't really talk about why things happen. It's more about like Stephen A. Smith and in halftime and after the game talking about who choked, as opposed to
right.
understanding the ins and outs of the games and why this team won and what are they doing to find success, as opposed to just ranting and raving about this and that. And
Yeah,
the same thing
I
with the
think
draft last night was the same thing. I watched 10 minutes of it and it's the same idea. It's not about what this guy's strengths are. Yeah.
I think Zach Lowe is still the best one at
Yeah.
breaking down the X's and O's and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Which is important,
yeah, because if you're gonna understand the game, seeing like, oh, they run this high low screen to get open looks, and they swing it around, and you get somebody open in the corner or whatever. Like, yeah, makes
But
sense.
I think too that just the schedule of it, they have game 7 on Sunday and the draft on Wednesday, which to me is a bit of an indication of what the NBA really truly cares about. Like,
It's a
okay,
soap opera, man.
we gave we handed out the trophy. Yeah. Now let's talk about transactions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pro
and
wrestling, right?
that's my fear that curling will become that. And we don't talk about the game. The game. We ain't talking about the game. We got to talk about the game.
We talk about transactions.
So there you have it. Not a lot of transactions actually this off season. That will be reserved for next off season. But there you have it. That is all the news I think that we have missed in our month or so away. I will say I don't think we will have an episode next week, but maybe we will. We'll see. But we'll have some in July for sure. And
Yes.
Through August as well. We'll have some content over the course of the summer. Might not be weekly through the course of summer. Just again, like stuff is kind of nutso this year in terms of travel and other obligations that we have. But we will try our best to get episodes up over the course of the summer. So if you want to hear all those, please do subscribe wherever you get your podcast, like, rate, comment, all the good stuff. Helps other people find the show, keeps us growing. Head on over to GameStonesPod.com. All of our past episodes are there, plus a link to the merch. You can follow us on the socials at GameStonesPod, except for Facebook, where it's Game of Stones Podcast. And if you want to let us know what you want to hear on the show, Game of Stones Podcast at gmail.com. Scott, the longest day of the year has passed. The solstice is in the rearview mirror. Days are getting shorter. So what does that mean?
It means that the Earth is continuing its march around the sun, tilted at our 23.5 degree from vertical axis.
Yeah.
And just that we've passed the maximum point. So now we're coming back around. Yeah, that's it.
All right.
It's
I was walking home today from work. Today was beautiful here.
beautiful
in
day.
Ottawa.
Yeah, beautiful
And
day.
especially compared to the heat dome we had for a few days there.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the trees with leaves. You got plants, you got some flowers, and in my head I was like, 6 months ago it was all covered in snow, and in 6 months from now it's very likely to be covered in snow again.
Such is the circle of life.
That's right. Yeah. Easy come, easy go,
Yeah. What did my father-in-law said to me once? So he in Hungary, somebody was saying to him, like, you're not old, you're just I wish I could remember. It was something like aged like a wine, like
Okay, yeah.
ready, you're like ripe. That was the word, ripe.
Okay.
you're at a ripe age. Like,
Right.
and he's like, oh yeah, I'm ripening.
There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah. Ready to be picked? Like, what is that?
I guess so.
Yeah.
But he thought about autumn, and how autumn is sort of like the trees have to lose their leaves to be able to grow new ones, and so it's the circle and all the
Right.
yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. And then you lift up Simba, and
yeah,
it all starts anew.
and you shine the beam of light on him.
Yeah. So there you go.
Exactly.
Yeah. So hopefully everyone out there, hopefully you're having a great start to your summer. For those of you in Canada, have a wonderful Canada Day on Tuesday. Scott, how do you celebrate Canada Day?
Privately.
Oh, yes, of course. And for those of you in the United States, have a wonderful 4th of July. Next week, of course, as always, do celebrate safely, especially if you're messing around with fireworks and all that. Please do so safely. And if you are toasting the country in which you live, do so responsibly so that everybody can have a wonderful time. But do enjoy out there, and we'll be with you very soon. But until then, keep those brooms on the ice and don't dump that intern.
Make the final.